And welcome back to another episode of Love Speaks. Love speaks what love is, whether it is cultural, spiritually, or currently. And so here we are currently here. I am your host, Francois, along with the beautiful, lovely
LaKisha.
It's good to sit back here with you again. I love what we do. You enjoying what we're doing?
I am absolutely enjoying this journey with you and bringing on these phenomenal guests and with their passion and what they're sharing for our viewers. And I hope our viewers are also enjoying as well. So if you are, just do us a favor, go ahead, like, share, tag somebody, text somebody this video podcast as well.
You are most definitely correct. The guest list that we've had so far here at Love Speaks has been phenomenal. We love to have guests on this show who are passionate and love what they do. They have given so much of their life to the subjects that we discuss here on Love Speaks. So I'm excited about what this platform is doing. And again, if you are interested in being a part, we want you to make sure you have a passion for what you do. And we would love to sit down and talk to you.
So don't forget, email us, notify us via whatever platform you're on if you would love to be a guest on Love Speaks, because we want to hear your story. We want to hear your testament, your testimony of the great things you're doing in the community. And so we want to have you as our guest. So we want you to know that you are more than welcome to take a seat with us and to share your story.
We are here in Miami, in South Florida, particularly Miami, Florida. In Miami, in South Florida, is very, very popular for a lot of the festivities that take place here. A lot of people like to come down for South Beach and enjoy the Memorial Day weekend, their spring break, their vacations, and things of that sort. Being a major city, we're down here on the coast, we experience a lot of good and a lot of challenging situations. One of our challenging situations is summertime and storm season. And so there are strong possibilities for hurricanes and different things, but year round, being a major city like other major cities across the United States of America, we also have our share with violence and gun violence. My family has been a victim of gun violence. One of my uncles, my mom considers that to be her twin brother, who was born, they were born on the same day, different years. He was murdered by the hands of gun violence from his ex-wife. And so our family knows firsthand of what it feels like to be a victim of gun violence.
I absolutely agree with you. So much gun violence, especially over summer months. We see gun violence where, young children, juveniles, and other individuals, adults who are in our media, we see it often, of the violence that have occurred. And I think they depict these stories that kind of make Miami look bad. And so I wanted to make sure we bring this topic and bring notoriety to the gun violence, because although it is, recognized and it is here, but it's also around the country as well. And so we just want to make sure that it is understood that we have those who advocate and those who are standing on the front line against this gun violence in our community as well. And so I've seen it personally growing up in my neighborhood. I mean, it's no stranger to us. When you're in the hood, you grow up there and you kind of see this rather sometimes walking out your front door and you can see the evidence of the gun violence. And so, it's something that I don't think is not realistic to anyone who lives in a hood, no matter if you're in Miami or any other major city around this nation. But it's great that we can have conversations about it and bring notoriety to it, but also highlight those who are doing the work to eliminate the gun violence, because it's so important that we stand together in doing this work.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's really a community effort. It's really a community effort. And don't ever feel like what you do is insignificant to bring about change.
Do you know when it comes to firearm death that Florida ranks 30th in the entire nation?
So 30th in the entire nation. So Florida is still a safe place where it comes down to Disney, Tampa, Miami, South Florida. But gun violence, again, is everywhere. Now, 76% of homicides in Florida involve firearms. Now, also, let's keep this in mind that with most of these, it includes homicides, suicides, and accidents, gun accidents. In today's show, we really want to talk about gun violence and gun safety. We want to deal with that, gun violence and gun safety.
And I thought it was very important that we bring those stats and bring that, information to the viewers, because as we talked with our guests today and we discussed the gun violence and their personal story, we just wanted to highlight that. Although Miami is seen on First 48 and we have gotten a reputation for being a bang bang city, we're not the only city and we're not number one. And so as our guest is coming today to share what her foundation and the work she's doing on the front line, which I am just elated to have her today as our guest to share her personal story, to share her passion behind being an advocate for gun violence.
So again, welcome to Shiketa Days. Shiketa, I like to call you Shiketa. Thank you so much for being a guest here on Love Speaks. Go ahead, tell us again, that's the name of your foundation, and the beginnings of it.
Actually, just tell us, what is your story? That's what we want to hear. We want to hear your story behind the Derrick Danzel Days Second Foundation. Let us hear your story.
The name of our organization is Derrick Danzel Days Second Corporation, and our journey started December 13, 2008, when our son was shot and killed at only 10 months old. We didn't start this organization right away because we needed time to grieve, but as we went through the grieving process and then we started to get on the ground for the grassroots for our mission, about, I would say 2011 is when we really started getting out there. And the reason for us starting this organization is to advocate for gun safety and collaborate with other organizations that have been through the same situation that we had experienced. Also, we didn't want our son to just be another statistic out there to say that this was just another person that was shot and killed. We wanted to make sure that his death was not just in vain, that it was for a purpose. And that's when our journey started with the Derrick Danzel Days Second Corporation.
Absolutely, and I can remember those days. I remember those days. It's amazing. It's been at least about 17 years, right? Going on 17 years. And I remember those days. And my heart just really went out for you and your husband during that time. But I love that you took your pain and turned it into power. What would you say is the main focus and the main message when you get a chance to speak with other parents that has experienced the same things that you guys have experienced?
I mean, it's great to be around those people that have been through what you experienced because they know firsthand what it's like to lose a child. Because some people come around, they say, I know how you feel, I know how you feel. They don't really know how you feel.
Yes.
But to be sitting next to somebody that has lost their child to gun violence, you can kind of feel each other's pain and you can kind of help each other work through that pain and find their purpose. Because through you, it's like I'm looking at myself through a mirror.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how it is when I'm collaborating with these other organizations. It's like a voice, it's a platform for these moms to be able to speak out and be that voice of hope, for change.
So, and I love that you have a good community that can relate. I often tell people that it's a personal annoyance to me when I hear people say, I know exactly what you're going through, because I think no one actually knows 100%. I often tell them when it comes down to the loss of a parent, it's like, I know what you feel like because I lost my mom, but if you and your mama wasn't talking, me and my mama talked every day.
Right.
It's similar, but it's
Different.
different. You know, if your child was 50 and passed away, and mine didn't even see one, it's similar, but it's different. And but it's still good that we can always find a place to relate. And I think that sometimes when we are in a place of bereavement, some people just don't know what to say. And I think sometimes in those places, it's just best to be there and talk where you relate. Talk where you relate. So you guys come together because you can relate on the path of losing a child.
I want to ask this question first before I go into the next part, because we're talking about gun violence. And I know it's a very simple question, but I still want to ask for our viewers, what is gun violence?
Gun violence is basically someone, they're either dying by the hands of a gun, or they're getting hurt or injured by a gun. You know, gun violence doesn't simply mean that somebody has been murdered or killed. They could have been shot by a gun. They could have been pistol whipped by a gun. That's gun violence. It could have been suicides. Anything related to a gun in a violent way is gun violence. That's the simplest way to put it. You know.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yes.
sorry, and that's good because I honestly never thought of it that way. That it is gun violence. My thought pattern has normally been if the gun went off, then that's gun violence. But you're right. I've known of people who've got pistol whipped. That's gun violence.
Yes.
I know of a few people who've actually been shot and survived.
Right.
You know, some it was a stray bullet, some it was, an act of crime. But it all is the same, and you're absolutely right. I just within my work, we just did a funeral a few months ago for one of our coworkers who claimed his own life by a gun, and that is gun violence.
And that's something too. That's why I wanted to ask that question, because when we think about gun violence, we only think about murder.
Right.
Exactly.
If they were not, that's the first thing. Oh, they died from gun violence, and we automatically, think, okay,
Right.
murder. But I'm glad you mentioned suicide as well, because that's still, it may be gun violence because it's at the end of the individual, but it's still an act of violence.
Right.
So thank you so much. I love just talking with you on this platform and you sharing your story in regards to what transpired 2008. And so I see your journey of healing. You've had, children after Derrick, and you have been a phenomenal mother, and you've been out there advocating and talking about gun violence in the corporation on the forefront out there. What has that been like, you personally talking with other families and other mothers?
When I'm with these mothers and they're telling me their stories, it's just like, you don't know that there's other people out there that's hurting just like you. But then sometimes you think that you're in these spaces and it's going to be that moment where it's a lot of moms, they're just sad, they're crying. Sometimes you just don't want to be around that. You want to be uplifted. So we try to come around each other, not, for a pity party, for us to be like, oh, we're going to be sitting here drowning in our sorrow, but we're going to be here uplifting each other. Make it a healing atmosphere so that we all can heal and not a grieving atmosphere. So that's what it's like when we're on the front line out here with these moms. We try to make it a healing space rather than a grieving space.
How do you organize to go out and provide the assistance to those families? Is it something that is requested, someone reaches out, or is it something that, here in the organization just says, okay, this family, we're going to support, this family, we're going to help? What does that look like?
Either we're reaching out or they're reaching out to us, but we also have a group that's called Community Collaboration Exchange. It's a group of nonprofits that we support each other. So if I'm in the Northwest and I can support an organization or a family that's grieving, I'll support that family. I have groups that I work with that's in the Southwest area, so they can support that Southwest family because they're in that area. So if we can't be everywhere at every time, we have all these group organizations that can go out and assist that family. So we have the Susan Bullets that we collaborate with. We have a Better Me Foundation, Collective Sisterhood, and so on. All of these organizations, we come together and we support each other. And that's how we mobilize, because we can't be everywhere at every time. So.
I love this. We're talking about gun violence. There's so much.
Yeah.
Number one, let me tell you, this wonderful woman here is not just the CEO of the DDD2C Corporation. She's part of Boss. She's also in law enforcement herself. So I love the fact that you guys collaborate. So any other organization that you're watching, collaboration is a good thing and it's a must. I love that you, and that's going to be like part of my final question, that you guys don't just get together to exchange pain. This is a part of the healing journey.
Yes.
And this is what I'm also enjoying about the DDD 2C corporation foundation, is that it's a part of the healing journey. One of the things that when I have an opportunity to sit with people and talk with them, one of the things I come to realize is that I call it a new normal. Because the reality is, when your life experienced certain traumas, it's never going to go back to the way it was. So we embrace the new normal. And what is a part of that healing journey for you?
Well, first, having my son was part of that healing journey, because that was something that we wanted to do right away, because I knew that would give me a reason to keep going. And starting this organization was a reason for me to get up and keep going, because when you're going through these situations, you have to stay busy. There has to be some purpose to make you want to get up in the morning, because sometimes you might not want to get up in the morning, comb your hair, brush your teeth. You don't want to do anything because you're in this state of mind. But it was amazed to see like how many mothers had experienced the same thing, because it affected my health. I got diagnosed young with rheumatoid arthritis and in a hospital. But when I told my story, the other mother came out and told her story and said, yeah, I've been battling illness and sickness since I lost my son. But it was crazy that our stories were similar and that we could relate to each other. But my kids have helped me through this healing process. My husband has helped me. He has been by my side. God has helped me. I had my job, all the supporters in the organization that has helped me through this healing journey. And I'm still healing. Sometimes you think that you don't need certain things, but you need it. I just did the Circle of Mothers Retreat with Sabrina Fulton, the Trayvon Martin Foundation. And that was a healing journey for me. That was something that I needed. I didn't think I needed, but I did. So it's not something that's going to happen like right away, but it's something that you have to do for the rest of your life to keep healing and to keep going.
But are there any trainings or protocols, like parents who have young children who may say, okay, I need to get involved, or maybe I can connect with this to provide these kind of trainings? What about the guns in the homes of these young people? What trainings, what protocols are there that parents can become a part of, find information on, so they can be aware?
Well, we do have gun violence support groups. We do them on demand. So basically, if we have enough people that want to attend these groups, then they can. And we have Zoom meetings. We have mental health Zoom meetings where these kids can get on and they can express themselves. We have different organizations that covers certain categories based on their expertise. So if it's gun violence, if it's mental health, if it's education, anything of that sort or anything else, that's their expertise. They will cover that on the Zoom meeting or in the support me.
Being one who've experienced tragedy or trauma with gun loss, what is your take on guns and gun safety? Maybe having a gun, using a gun. What's your take on guns and gun safety?
I think that gun safety, it starts with the parents at home. You know, they have to be more involved with their kids, knowing what they're doing. Because some of these kids, they have guns that their mom doesn't even know that they have guns in their room because they're not even checking their room. And it starts at home with gun safety, locking your guns up and things like that. Making sure you're keeping an eye on your kids and who they're hanging with or associating themselves with. That's where it starts, because it's not the gun, it's the person that with the gun that's committing the crime. I'm not against guns at all, because, you know, you have to protect yourself, but you have to have safety procedures in place to make sure that these guns are not in the wrong hands, basically.
Mm.
Because these these kids are not trained to operate guns, so they don't know how to operate a gun, how to properly secure a gun or shoot a gun. So those that have gone through the proper training, they have took gun licensing classes. Basically, you go out to a gun range, they teach you how to shoot a gun, they teach you how to properly secure a gun. You have your license, you know what to do with a gun. Not the ones that they're just getting guns off the street and they're not properly trained on how to use these guns or secure these guns. And that's why we have a problem with gun violence. That's why.
The lack of education and gun safety increases gun violence. That's amazing. I even with our young boys that are coming up, they're ready to drive, and I'm a transportation advocate, and I help them to understand. Do you know more people die in car accidents than any other type of way? So when you get behind the wheel, it's sincere, and you have to be able to be focused on look out for you and others. And owning a gun is not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. I grew up. My mom was like, "We don't own guns. We don't do that. No, we don't do that." But we live in a different day and time, and so if you don't, I love what you said. If you don't go through the proper channels, then you should not have this. And do you feel like it's okay to teach your children, or should there be like an age limit on whether or not your child should hold a gun, possess a gun, not even possess a gun, but hold a gun and know how to operate one and understand the safety of it?
There should be an age limit. I don't want to expose my kids to guns right now. I don't think they need to be. But I think that maybe 18 is a good age for them to be exposed to, you know, proper gun safety. Because as kids, you know, kids are curious now. They're curious. So if you have a gun, you own a gun, they want to pick it up, they want to know how it works. And you don't know, you may be gone, or and they pick up your gun and then boom, they shoot themselves because they're not properly trained. So I'm okay with not exposing them to guns until it's time.
So most people get involved with, you know, organizations like the Derrick Danzel Days Corporation because they've been personally affected. So what about those who have not been affected? People who may feel like, this has nothing to do with me. This does not affect me. Some of our viewers that may be watching, how can they get involved? Is it just Miami? Because you mentioned South. Is there other states that you are mobilized in and that you're supporting and helping as well?
Yes, we have a board member that's in Texas, so she handles the Texas area and the New Orleans area, and we also collaborate with Atlanta, Georgia, because there's areas in Atlanta, Georgia too that has gun violence issues. So we do mobilize in those different states, not just Miami, not just Miami-Dade County, but everybody. We work with everyone. Anybody can get involved with this organization, because we have people that have lost kids, not to gun violence, but maybe in a car accident, and they're supporting this because they're taking over their kids. So it's like grandmas that are now raising their daughters' sons. So now they fear for their sons getting shot and killed, or their sons getting shot and killed by the police. So they get involved with these organizations so that they don't want their grandkids to be another statistic. So that's how you can get involved with this organization. You can donate to our organization to help support, mobilize in these different areas with these different organizations. You don't really have to be a victim of gun violence to get involved, because we want to be able to resolve this issue. We don't want another person get hurt or get shot and killed. If we can prevent that now and starting from the home, from the grandma or the parent that's taking care of that kid, we can start from there. And that way we can resolve some of the issues.
Awesome. I know of a funeral home who began a prayer line because they said, we want business, but we don't want business like this. And they started a prayer circle because they wanted a slowdown of gun violence and death, death by gun violence. They wanted that to slow down. So, and this was wonderful. So, if we have not experienced it, we can still be a part to help it.
If you're passionate about stopping or decreasing the gun violence in your communities everywhere, you all can get involved. You don't have to lose a child. Let's do it before it happens.
Absolutely. Prevention is the key.
Yes.
Because a lot of us are very good at being reactive instead of being proactive beforehand. And I 1000% agree with you. That's why I think it's part of my wife and I, especially when it comes down to mental health. So my thing is everybody has a story. And that's the first thing that always comes to my mind. Before I would jump and take sides, my question is like, well, what happened to bring you to where you are on both sides? And it seems like your organization, you guys are doing a phenomenal job at helping preventing somebody from being involved in gun violence and committing gun violence.
Right. Because a lot of the violence comes from financial issues too. That's why we advocate for economic development.
Yeah.
To teach these people, people that have been incarcerated that can't get jobs, teach them how to start businesses, teach them how to be entrepreneurs, that there's other ways out there for you to make money.
Mm.
And we work hand in hand with those people step by step to help them get properly licensed and legalize their money.
Mm.
Okay, so that's another part of our organization that we specialize in for young entrepreneurs or old entrepreneurs, whatever age. You can start anywhere. You can start over any time in your life. I don't care if you're 40, you're 50, 30, you can start somewhere,
Now that is a message of hope. You can start over anywhere and anytime.
Yes.
That is the light. I wanted to say the end of the tunnel, but no, that's the light in the middle of wherever you are. You can start over. Life can begin again for you, and there are ways around it. I'm with you that I'm an advocate for that. That you don't have to end like this. You don't have to. There are ways, and the gift that you have on the inside is necessary. I know you have multiple. And I know we were here to talk about gun violence, but you have multiple things that goes on with you. Again, you have your boss up. What's boss up about?
Okay. The Boss Up Visual was started from our Boss Up Visual podcast. It was a platform that was created, for urban business owners to have a platform to get out there and be heard, and share their brand and their passion. Natural talents and skills. Like, you don't have to be a celebrity, a football player, a basketball player, but this average person that's smart, that has talents and skills that's out there in the community can be recognized,
Yes.
So I wanted them to be able to have a media platform, a voice, a magazine that they can be put in, an award. We do the Boss Up Visual Awards so that we can recognize the people in our community with natural talents and skills.
It's really refreshing because the organizations kind of collide. And that's the great thing because you're talking about the economics and being a driving force behind, a lot of the gun violence because of the economic depression amongst a lot of people. And so having these small businesses and these organizations that can be able to highlight
Right.
these small businesses is wonderful because it brings revenue.
Right.
And so it's a great thing to hear this, but does the organization provide any kind of business setup?
Yes, we do have some business startup packages on our website. So if you go to our paid services at ddd2c.biz, you'll see some of those packages that we have that we can assist you in starting over and starting your journey.
It is great sitting here with you today. It has been the best time today sitting here with Shiketa, with DD2C, Boss Up. Thank you so much for coming, sharing all of this wonderful information and being transparent. And I know you said, you know, with time you've been healing and you're in a better place. And so thank you so much for just being transparent, talking about your story with our viewers, with us today on Love Speak. And we heard your passion. Your passion has spoke volumes in this room and across this platform. And so we wanted to just give you the time to leave your information. We're going to also put it down in the subscription, but we want to make sure that you leave all of your information for anyone who wants to contact you, whether it's for gun violence, whether it's for entrepreneurship, whether it's for life insurance. And she's not a jack of all trades and a master of none. She's mastering them all. So she is one that you can get in touch with, and she will be able to assist you. She'll provide us with your information.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be here sitting in front of you guys because you guys are amazing. I see the work that you do in the community, and the ministry that you have is amazing. And I feel great just being here. I mean, this is really valuable to me to be here, for you to choose me to be here on your show today. But you guys, all of that information is on ddd2c.biz. All of our social media sites and everything. You can follow us from our website.
Thank you again. So that's it for Love Speaks. Thank you so much, Shiketa Days and the Derrick Danzel Days, the Second Corporation. This has been a phenomenal set dealing with gun violence and gun safety. So please like, share, subscribe, that others may be encouraged, inspired, and informed with how love speaks concerning our future.
And don't forget to click the notification bell below so you can be aware when we are on every single Tuesday at 6 p.m.
Love Speaks is what love is. Love is culturally, love is spiritually.